In his first year of university studies, Jeff Lockert, like most university students, felt ambivalent about a God whom the secular culture had convinced him wasn't there. So in an act of intellectual honesty, he offered a prayer that any atheist could. Lord, if you are real, prove it. Reveal yourself to me. By 2001, this ambivalence was resolved for Jeff to such a degree that he undertook the role of president of Catholic Christian Outreach, known in Canadian academic circles as CCO. With a personal and professional focus on investing in the lives of young leaders throughout Canada and the world, Jeff Lockert has spent his professional life since the start of the 21st century, leading this international Christian university outreach program into the future, and has become one of our Knights to Know.
Well, Jeff, welcome to Vancouver, and thank you for addressing our Legatus group tonight. Some pretty inspirational words you shared with us. But I'd like to ask you, in this age of moral relativism where right and wrong seem to be relegated to the status of a consumer choice, how can you account for your amazing success with CCO and being able to reach out so successfully and evangelize so successfully on our campuses?
You know, one of the graces that CCO contains is summed up in one of our tenets, one of our founding principles, which is to proclaim the gospel clearly and simply. And so, you know, in an age of as you described, moral relativism, you know, where people are just choosing whatever they want, our desire and our effort has always been to proclaim the person of Jesus Christ, his death and resurrection, and to invite people to encounter him in a personal way. And John Paul II said a number of years ago that the truth is not an ideology, but it's a person, and his name is Jesus. And so when we're trying to present the truth to people, more than just arguments or rationales, we try to present the person of Jesus, to present Jesus to people. And as they come to encounter him and meet him in their lives, these sort of illusions of relativism fall aside because they encounter the truth, who is a person. And so then these other truths of the faith or moral life or other things start to become more discernible in their lives, because they have an orientation, they have a direction that they're looking, which is to Jesus Christ, the face of Christ. So, you know, we at the same time, we certainly try to understand the culture, the youth culture, and to tap into the natural sort of flows of that youth culture, but to use that to propose the gospel. So whether that's social media, being present in that space to connect young people there, friendships, which is still really important, young people reaching out to other young people, inviting young people, being in friendship with young people, or just things that are interesting to young people, events, activities, contexts that they want to be a part of. You know, we undertake that so that they can, so that we can present Jesus in a compelling, relevant, and in an attractive way. So one of the examples I gave tonight was we do a survey on campus where we invite young people to offer their opinion on spiritual questions. You know, do you believe in God? Who do you think the person of Jesus? Do you ever pray? And another question on there is, you know, would you be interested to meet with other students to talk about your faith? So every student, still to this day, likes to get something for free, and they like to eat. So we give them free food if they fill out our survey. But when they come, as they're filling it out, we have conversations with them, and we listen to them. We try to understand where they're coming from, and then we invite them to be a part of something where they can discuss these kinds of questions with their peers. And we get quite a good response there. And then through those small groups where they can dive into understanding who is Jesus more in their life, through a program we call Discovery Series, they come to meet the Lord in a personal way, and that changes everything about their perspective.
What do you see as the core values you're trying to instill in these young students to really give them that flame, if you like, of the faith?
Well, I would say that the process that we try to undertake is a threefold process. It's to proclaim the gospel clearly and simply so they can encounter the Lord. It's to equip them in a life of discipleship and formation of faith. So to learn how to pray, to understand the scriptures, the sacramental life, service. But then it's to commission them to go out and to respond to their baptismal call to be missionary disciples, to invite others. So it's actually an approach of spiritual multiplication. We proclaim to young people and invite them to put Christ at the center of their life, then equip them in their faith, and then commission them to go and proclaim and equip and commission others. It's actually the model that Jesus used in his own ministry of preaching to the disciples, building them up, and then commissioning them to go out and to proclaim and equip and to commission others.
Wow.
So this is the approach that we've taken, and we apply it in small groups, or we apply it in individual contexts. But it's to try to pass on this model and approach of proclaim, equip, and commission.
Would you say that in this age of it's almost like our morality is crowdsourced. It's like we're deifying consensus when there's isn't any. It's like we're all fragmenting in every direction. So what's the antidote to that? I mean, what are we looking at in terms of a church and in terms of a faith? How can we answer that and maybe even remedy it?
I'd look at that in a couple different ways. First of all, I would say that we have these modern technologies, and so we have sort of a different way of experiencing that. But in a certain way, our longing for God has always been something crowdsourced, meaning that contained within the heart of every human person is a longing to know the divine, because we're made in the image and likeness of God. So in that sense, that longing is a universal longing. And that desire to know the one who created me is a good thing. It's a good thing. So then people look to all kinds of areas. They look to materialism or success or sexuality or other things to find that meaning. So what we try to do, or where we try to see, is to propose that the Creator, the God who made you, knows you the best, and to invite them to consider faith elements in their life, spiritual elements in their life. So in encountering Jesus, who, as I mentioned before, is the truth, who is a person, this then opens them up actually to see the desire for more objective perspective on life. And in fact, when we encounter young people who really invested heavily into what the world offers, over time they get really tired of it. The world doesn't offer satisfaction. The world doesn't offer. Pope Benedict said, "The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness." So when young people who are searching see other young people who are living virtuous lives, who are living spirit-filled lives that are joy-filled, they're contagious. And they see there's something different about you. There's something different. And when they come to know that person, they find out that the difference in their life is that they have a relationship with God that orients their whole life, and that then becomes attractive and desirous for them.
As president of CCO, you have a lot of responsibility, but you've got another responsibility that I think is equally as great. You've managed to be the father of 6 children. Mm-hmm. So we've got about 2 million Knights of Columbus in 18 countries. A good number of them are fathers and grandfathers.
Sure.
So what's a few words of advice you could share with us in making our kids ready to meet you at campus?
If you have kids that are growing up and are going off to university, certainly, first of all, is just to make them aware of the places where CCO is present and the activities that CCO offers. We're on a number of campuses, but we also have activities and opportunities for students that are on any campus. So we host a national conference. We do summer mission projects. So there's a lot of, so just helping them to be aware of that, or maybe encouraging them to go to a university that has the CCO team present. I think as well, continuing to pray, for your kids is critical, because God knows them, God made them, God loves them more than even we can love our own children. And he desires for them to know him even more than we desire our kids to know God. So to pray for grace in their life and the opportunity for them to meet others who will invite them into that is really, really important. I think too, it's being a disciple yourself. As kids grow, we teach kids as they grow up. But at a certain point, we sort of transition where we want to grow in friendship with our children, and with our friends, we don't necessarily teach our friends, but we share our faith with our friends. So inviting our kids into our own faith lives, into our prayers, our struggles, our intentions, seeing that faith is real for us, not just something that we do, but it's a part of who we are. That has a really lasting impact on kids. And maybe even if they wander away for a while, if they've come to know that their mother or father or grandmother or grandfather is an authentic disciple of Christ, that they love Jesus and desire the best for their children and their grandchildren, that they never forget that. It comes back in their hearts, even in the most challenging times. So, and then make a connection. So if those kids are open to connecting with one of our staff or missionaries on campus or one of our groups, then that's really helpful too, because then our team can connect with them and welcome them in and get them involved with what we're doing. So yeah, if they have that openness, then certainly reach out to us and we can connect with them when they come to the campus. Yeah, so this evening I had the opportunity to speak about the virtuous leadership, a call towards greatness. And in particular, after speaking a bit about the foundation of leadership and excellence, which are the cardinal virtues, I spoke about two key virtues related to leading others, and those being magnanimity and humility. Now, most people have a sense of what humility is, but when you ask people about magnanimity, often you get a lot of blank stares. People haven't heard that word, let alone tried to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, magnanimity, both as defined by Aristotle, the ancient philosopher, but also St. Thomas Aquinas, who wrote a lot about the virtues. Magnanimity is the striving of the soul towards great things. The striving of the soul towards great things. And that, combined with the virtue of humility, which is oriented towards the service of others, brings about a perspective on leadership that's really unique. It's one where we become great leaders by bringing out greatness in others. So, as an example, when we see those that we lead, those around us, and it doesn't have to be in a business context, it could be in a family context or a volunteer context. We see others around us. True greatness, leadership greatness, isn't just accomplishing the task that's before us. True leadership greatness is helping those that we lead to discover their talents, their strengths, their unique gifts, and to put those to action for the good and the betterment of our world. Mm-hmm. That is a transformative leadership that's not just about accomplishing goals, but about transforming people. And that's a magnanimous leadership.
Jeff, that's some great insights. Can you tell us, how can our viewers get in touch with you?
So the easiest way is our website, which is cco.ca. Lots of info there, resources, and everything is there. Also, you might be interested, I write a personal blog on cultivating virtuous leadership, and that can be found at Jeff Lockert, all one word, JEFFLOCKERT.com, jefflockert.com.
That's excellent. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.